And for staff, wow, so lucky to be working in an organisation that is really looking out for you.
Hello and welcome to our Spotlight series. I'm your host, Carla, Egan, and today we're talking to a health and wellness coach that specialises in helping individuals through stress and burnout, and she has a particular interest in the education sector as well. Our guest today is Carolyn Apostolou from Inspired to Nurture, and Carolyn joins us from Melbourne, Victoria in Australia. Welcome.
Hi, Carla. Hi, everyone.
Well, it's great to have you here today, and you're here today to talk about self-care strategies to assist people through stress and burnout, which I think everyone experiences. And before we dive into that topic, Carolyn, can you share a bit of your background and your journey into your coaching business?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have a background in psychology. I'm also married to a corporate lawyer, so I feel like I have seen firsthand the stress and the burnout and the lack of sleep and the poor food choices and lack of exercise right in front of me. And through that, I've been able to use my psychology background and my teaching background to really help coach not only him, but other individuals that are in a similar situation. I am also a mum of 4 children. That keeps me super duper busy. But in amongst all of that, I love nothing more than chatting to individuals and coaching groups of people in how they can feel their best, look their best, and then be their best in their workplace.
You do all of this while having 4 kids. That's well, you're juggling a lot of things, and I love that you actually have an experience of doing this with your husband, but also as a mum, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Now, unfortunately, Carolyn, stress is a fact of life in our professional careers, and employee burnout is a problem during the good times as well as during the stressful times. So based on your knowledge and your experience, how can we manage ourselves better?
Well, gosh, there are many tips that I could give you, but let me give you 3 for today. And I think the top tip is really looking at your sleep habits and your sleep routine, because as individuals, if we are not getting enough sleep, that then can be like a domino effect into all aspects of our life. So we really must make sure that we are prioritizing sleep and getting a good amount of sleep each night. I think another tip would be to look at your coping mechanisms. Do you know what personally works for you? I know for me, it's being outdoors in nature. It's going for a walk, and so if you're a busy corporate worker, can you do a walking meeting, or can you leave your desk and walk out and get the post from your letterbox, in the middle of the day? Can you get out for an online exercise class in the morning before you start your day? So look at a coping mechanism that really is effective for you. And I think the third tip would be also about having a opportunity to switch off, and again, knowing what works for you. Personally, I love to read, and so I will read a novel every single night. Sometimes it's a chapter, sometimes I can still be reading a few hours later, but I know for me that is something that just takes my mind totally away from my work. Other people, it might be gardening, it might be cooking, it might be watching something on Netflix, a TV series, just to really take yourself away from the stress of the work and take your mind off it. So definitely having ideas of what can help you switch off would be the final tip.
Great. And I wrote down your walking tip. I really like that idea, combining a meeting by getting some fresh air and getting some exercise at the same time. And I think everyone can do that. Getting stuck in the office, sometimes it's a bit of a trap. So really good self-care, some of those tips. Now, when I was preparing for our interview today, Carolyn, I did some research on stress and burnout, and I found something in relation to the World Health Organization, and they're saying that burnout is a syndrome resulting from the workplace stress because it's not successfully managed. So what advice do you give to people leaders those that are responsible for their team that are experiencing stress, what advice do you give them for managing it more successfully in the workplace?
Well, definitely, do they have a program in place so that they are aware of effective strategies and they can recognize stress in themselves and in other people? I think that's really, really important. And I think that can be best achieved through education and programs like the ones that I run with corporates. So really addressing that exact issue and really helping them to become aware of the effective strategies for themselves and for other people.
I just want to pick up, and you mentioned that you run corporate workshops. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? Because there is a lot of education around mental health, and we've got Are You OK Day, and there's Movember's coming up for men's mental health. Tell us a little bit about those workshops, and let's give yourself a plug, because I think the work that you're doing is vital for employees, and it has a ripple effect through families. So share a little bit more about the workshops, Carolyn.
Yeah, well, I think for employers to show their staff that they really care about them, that they want to look after them, that they want to make sure that they are in a good place mentally and physically, not just so that they can be more productive, but on the whole. And I think employers, when they are addressing those needs and educating their staff on how to better look after themselves and manage that work and that home life, they are better people, they're better staff members, they're more productive, everything just, is like a snowball effect. So I think it's really, really important for employers to show their staff that they care. But as an employee, to have an employer that is willing to put money and to put time into having programs run for you, that can really give you the necessary skills that you may not be aware of, or the accountability and the support to actually move your body more regularly, to make better food choices, to make sure you are sleeping well and that you're able to switch off from work. I think that's really, really super valuable. And I think it says a lot about a company that is offering a program like that. And for staff, wow, so lucky to be working in an organisation that is really looking out for you.
Yeah, it's really about becoming the employer of choice. I think in this marketplace, it's an employee marketplace. And if you care about your employees, by educating them and educating themselves as leaders around enjoyment and work-life balance and how to effectively manage that stress and burnout, you're going to have a higher retention of employees. And I think that's the name of the game right now and in this year. So wonderful work, Carolyn. And before we wrap up this episode, I'd love to ask you, what does joining the coaching directory mean to you and your business?
Oh gosh, it is such a pleasure to be part of the coaching directory, to be surrounded by other incredible people who are super passionate about their work, and we're all in different areas of coaching, and just to see everybody really thriving in their area of expertise and being able to support them and being able to refer clients to other people has just been really wonderful. So thank you for letting me be a part of the directory.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And look, that brings us to the end of this Spotlight interview. Carolyn, thank you for shining the spotlight on the importance of self-care as it relates specifically to managing stress and burnout.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Carla.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us and following our Spotlight series. You can connect directly to Carolyn from Inspire to Nurture through the coaching directory. And remember, if you enjoy our show, please rate and review us, and be sure to catch us in the next episode. This is Carla Egan from the Coaching Directory, where we connect you to your ideal coach.